Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 has more red flags than a red flag factory. It has had a long line of development issues. It's changed hands between developers, and I can only imagine the amount of times it's been restarted. Needless to say, you probably shouldn't pre-order this one, but fans of the series have been given an even more pressing reason to not want to support the game, and that is the confirmation of Day 1 DLC that locks two of the clans behind a $22 additional price tag. According to Video Games Chronicle, the La Sombra and the Toreador clan are the two clans in question, though the game does have a deluxe edition at $10 extra. That isn't the edition that gets the DLC. You would have to buy the premium edition priced at $89.99 to have an edition of the game that is complete. I don't often do videos about negative things in the game industry. I felt like this was something that needed to be called out. Vampire the Masquerade is a much beloved game, and for a good reason. The original Bloodlines. It did so many good things, and it felt like one of the few games that really went in depth with vampires in a lot of really cool ways, even though it had some issues, right? It gave you various abilities to play with, a lot of unique characters with similarly unique interactions. It sounds like Bloodlines 2 actually does some similar things to the first game, with a masquerade system that tracks how you appear in public, because vampires are secretive and they don't want the mortal humans to know they're lurking around. If you attract too much notice, you're killed. The combat seems fun. There's a wide assortment of interesting characters. It could, for all the naysaying and skepticism that I've seen and that I share, be a good game. There have been some previews that give it some hope that could be good as well, though Eurogamer's previewer said it lacks a bit of the RPG mechanics we were hoping for. It does have the atmosphere that Bloodlines needs. It seems like every time they mention one good trait, something not so good follows behind. But Day 1 DLC for clans? Come on. You're shooting yourself in the foot straight out of the gate. And for what reason? To try and make up for the development issues that have plagued the game and make some of that money back? Sure, some people might take the bait and pay for that, but it isn't worth the public perception hit, especially not with so much riding on the game being good. And just imagine if it's not good, the public perception hit gets blasted even harder. And that doesn't touch on the rocky history of the game itself. It was announced in 2019 to be developed by Hardsuit Labs, had key creative developers from the original like Brian Mitsoda, and those key creatives were then removed from the project. The game got a bunch of delays, and the entire thing was on the cutting board. So it surprised me that the Chinese room even took on the project at all. They've had all sorts of layoffs, changing of personnel. This is not a big team. In 2017, they dropped nearly the entire team outside of 2 or 3 people. They built back up, and then more recently, they laid off 12 people. The studio has changed hands multiple times in that period. In 2018, they were brought to the Sumo Group. That group was bought by Tencent in 2021, and then the leadership team at the Chinese room bought themselves out and became independent again very recently in 2025. Doesn't sound like the kind of environment that's super conducive to making a game as important to people as Bloodlines 2. For all of that, like I said, it's possible that this is a good game. I don't ever want a game to fail. It's so much better for me that this game does well, and I get to return to that world and experience a fun vampire RPG, which we don't get that often. There have only been a couple single-player vampire RPGs as of late. I'm hoping that Bloodlines 2 and Blood of Dawnwalker are both great, but I will say that I have much more faith that Dawnwalker will reach that level. As for Bloodlines 2, keep an eye on this one. It feels like there are only 2 ways that this can go. It's your money, so you can do whatever you would like, but I would say don't pre-order. Don't give them extra money for 2 clans that should be in the game with no extra charge. Let's wait. We'll see what the general consensus is on this one, and then if it's good enough, I'll feel okay with a purchase, though I'll be honest, with the DLC as it is, it's making me question whether I'll even do that, regardless of whether the game is good or not. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is coming out on October 21st, so stay tuned for that. We'll see what happens. If you haven't played Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines or even Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, I would urge you to take some time, give them both a shot. Both really good games in different ways. One is leaning more towards classic CRPG territory, and the other is first-person action RPG with great writing. I do videos on RPGs of all kinds, so if that interests you, subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.